Shocking, unexpected, and absolutely heartbreaking. Those are the only words that can even begin to describe what has happened to Ice Cube at 56. And today you're about to hear a side of his story that very few people dare to talk about. From hidden industry conflicts to the personal battles he never wanted the public to see, this is a truth wrapped in controversy, silence, and painful revelations. And before we dive into it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, because YouTube only shows videos like this to more people. When you engage, your subscription literally tells the platform that this story matters and deserves to be heard. Now, what you're about to discover might change the way you've always seen Ice Cube. Behind the legend, behind the fame, behind the power of his voice, there's a tragedy so deep that many insiders try to keep it buried. We'll touch on the most controversial moments of his career, the betrayals that nearly destroyed everything he built, the accusations that painted him as a villain, and the personal losses that pushed him into a battle far darker than the public ever imagined. For decades, Ice Cube has been called fearless, raw, dangerous, but no one ever questioned the emotional cost of carrying that image. No one asked what it was doing to the man behind the persona. And the truth is far more heartbreaking than anyone expected. So stay with me. Do not click away, because the final revelation in this video is something that will leave you genuinely stunned. Also, drop a comment telling me what shocked you the most. As you watch, your comment helps the conversation grow and helps this message reach more people who need to hear it. This is not just another celebrity story. This is the unraveling of a legacy, the exposure of hidden wounds, and the heartbreaking tragedy of Ice Cube at 56. And trust me, the last part of this video will change everything you thought you knew. O'Shea Jackson Sr., globally known as Ice Cube, was born on June 15, 1969, in South Central Los Angeles, a place where violence, racial tension, and inequality shaped nearly every aspect of daily life. Growing up in a working-class family, with his father working as a groundskeeper and his mother as a hospital clerk, Cube learned early about discipline, responsibility, and the harsh realities surrounding him. His passion for writing began as a teenager when he started crafting rhymes that reflected the intensity and frustration of the streets. By high school, he was already developing the sharp lyrical style that would later change hip-hop forever. In the late 1980s, Ice Cube joined forces with Dr. Dre and Eazy-E to form NWA, a group that shattered the music industry with its raw, unfiltered portrayal of police brutality and urban survival. Their groundbreaking album, Straight Outta Compton, turned Cube into one of the most controversial voices in America. After disputes over money and creative control, he boldly left the group, facing threats and industry backlash. Yet he emerged stronger with his solo debut, America's Most Wanted, a masterpiece that instantly cemented him as one of the greatest lyricists of all time. Beyond rap, Cube expanded into filmmaking, writing and starring in the iconic film Boys in the Hood, which showcased his ability to turn real experiences into powerful storytelling. Over the years, he reinvented himself repeatedly, from a political commentator to a comedy actor in films like Friday, Barbershop, and Are We There Yet? Despite fame, he remained deeply connected to community issues, speaking on race, justice, and cultural identity. Today, Ice Cube stands as a multi-talented artist, entrepreneur, and cultural leader whose influence stretches across music, cinema, and activism. His journey from the streets of South Central to global icon is a testament to resilience, vision, and fearless honesty. 1. The silent, emotional toll of a lifetime in conflict. Throughout his career, Ice Cube became known as a bold, fearless voice who never backed down from a fight. But what most people never see is the emotional toll that a lifetime of conflict quietly creates behind the scenes. From the earliest days of his rise, he found himself facing critics, labels, political pressure, and constant judgment. And even though he always appeared strong in public, carrying that much tension for decades slowly wears a person down in ways that no interview or headline can reveal. Being misunderstood became a normal part of his life. And over the years, that constant push to defend his character his art, and his intentions created a quiet exhaustion that settled deeper than any physical tiredness. Ice Cube learned early how to build emotional armor. But even the strongest armor doesn't protect the heart from feeling drained after so many battles. The conflict with his first group, the backlash from his solo career, the criticism for his political involvement, and the pressure of staying relevant in a rapidly changing world all added layers of stress that he rarely allowed himself to express openly. And because he was always seen as the tough one, the outspoken one, the unbreakable one, people often assumed he didn't feel the sting of the negativity surrounding him, when in reality, every attack, every harsh headline, every misinterpretation left a mark. At 56, the weight of these years becomes harder to hide because the emotional cost of constantly fighting for respect and recognition doesn't simply disappear with success. It lingers in the quiet moments when the cameras are off and he finally has time to reflect on the path that brought him here. What makes this tragedy even more heartbreaking is that Ice Cube never asked for pity. He only wanted to be understood. But being a public figure means living in a world where misunderstanding is almost unavoidable, and carrying that emotional burden for so long has created a silent, invisible fatigue that even someone as strong as him can no longer completely ignore. 2. The hidden strain on family and personal relationships. Behind Ice Cube's powerful public image, there's a quieter and far more delicate story that many fans never consider. The hidden strain that decades of fame, touring, film schedules, and constant public obligations have placed on his family and personal relationships. While his success opened countless opportunities, it also demanded a level of time, emotional energy, and physical presence that no one can endlessly give without consequences. Throughout his career, Cube often found himself juggling long nights in the studio, cross-country travel, movie sets far from home, and the mental pressure of maintaining a career built on intensity and public expectations. Even with the strongest intentions, these demands naturally created moments where he missed family events, important milestones, or simple everyday interactions that most people take for granted. And although his loved ones supported his dreams, the emotional distance created by always being on the move quietly shaped their dynamics. For someone as dedicated as Cube, the guilt of not always being present can slowly build up, even if nobody explicitly blames him. Small misunderstandings, unspoken expectations, and the difficulty of balancing privacy with a very public life slowly add weight to every relationship. At times, he had to protect his family from media intrusion, rumors, and controversies, which created another layer of stress, because safeguarding the people he loves meant carrying extra emotional responsibility alone. As he reached 56, he began to feel more clearly how much he sacrificed for his career and how much his career, at times, unintentionally took from the people closest to him. The tragedy isn't that he failed as a family man. It's that the world around him was never designed to let him fully enjoy the quiet, meaningful moments he worked so hard to protect. In the end, the true strain isn't loud or dramatic. It's the silent realization that success often demands a personal price, one that even the strongest hearts can feel deeply. 3. The career decisions that haunted him later in life. Throughout Ice Cube's long and influential career, he made bold choices that shaped his identity as an artist, but some of those decisions ended up leaving a quiet trail of regret that followed him into his later years. At 56, he can look back and clearly see how certain paths he chose, whether driven by artistic integrity, frustration, or the desire to stand firm on his principles, influenced his legacy in ways he never fully anticipated. Early in his career, walking away from major deals or refusing to compromise on artistic direction kept him true to himself. But these decisions also cost him opportunities that could have expanded his reach or built bridges he later wished he had. There were collaborations he turned down, partnerships he rejected, and statements he made passionately that later took on new meanings in a changing world. These choices, though genuine at the time, sometimes complicated his public image and created long-lasting misunderstandings that resurfaced years later. Cube was always driven by authenticity, But the entertainment industry often rewards adaptability over consistency, and holding firm to his beliefs occasionally made him stand apart in ways that felt lonely rather than empowering. As the years passed, he began to feel the weight of certain roles he declined, certain relationships that slipped away, and certain industries he remained distant from because he refused to change who he was. These reflections aren't about failure, but about the natural human realization that no career, no matter how successful, comes without what-if moments. And for someone as thoughtful as Cube, those moments sometimes linger quietly in his mind, especially when he sees how the entertainment landscape has evolved. The tragedy isn't that he made the wrong choices. It's that some of the decisions that once protected his identity also created barriers that limited how widely his work could be understood or appreciated. At 56, he can feel both pride and a hint of sadness, knowing that staying true to himself came with a cost that only becomes clearer with time. 4. The pain of being misunderstood by both fans and critics. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of Ice Cube's life, especially as he reaches 56, is the persistent experience of being misunderstood by both fans and critics, despite decades of artistic excellence and personal evolution. From the very beginning of his career, he was cast into roles and labels that never fully captured the complexity of who he really is. The angry rapper, the controversial figure, the streetwise provocateur. These were convenient boxes for the public and the media to place him in, but they only told a fraction of the story. While fans celebrated his music for its raw honesty and cinematic intensity, critics often focused solely on controversy or isolated moments, missing the broader messages about social justice, community, and personal struggle embedded in his work. This disconnect created a painful tension, because Ice Cube was constantly working to express authentic experiences, yet the world often interpreted them through narrow lenses. Over the years, he developed a thick skin, but even the strongest people can feel the sting of being perpetually misread. Whether it was a politically charged lyric, a challenging film role, or a candid interview, there was always the risk that his intentions would be questioned or twisted. For someone who values integrity and clarity, this kind of misunderstanding can be deeply frustrating and emotionally taxing. It's not just about public perception. It affects how he reflects on his own work and how he connects with the culture he helped shape. At 56, he is at a stage in life where legacy matters, and yet the narrative surrounding him sometimes fails to capture the full depth of his contributions. The tragedy is subtle but powerful. Creating art and sharing truth should feel rewarding, yet being misunderstood repeatedly can make even the most passionate expression feel isolating. Ice Cube's pain lies in knowing that while millions appreciate him, a significant portion of the world continues to see only a partial version of who he really is, and that lingering misperception is a quiet burden he carries every day. 5. The harsh reality of aging in a youth-driven industry. As Ice Cube reaches 56, one of the most challenging and emotionally complex realities he faces is the harsh truth of aging in an industry that idolizes youth above all else. The music and entertainment worlds are relentless, constantly chasing the newest faces, the latest trends, and the youngest energy, often leaving seasoned artists to navigate a landscape that suddenly feels less welcoming. For someone like Cube, who has spent decades building a career rooted in authenticity, creativity, and influence, this shift can be surprisingly isolating. It's not a reflection of talent or relevance. He remains a master of his craft, but the industry's obsession with youth often sidelines even the most accomplished figures, creating a quiet sense of invisibility. Projects that once seemed guaranteed, opportunities that once came naturally, may now require more effort to secure or may be outright denied simply because he no longer fits the ideal mold that executives and audiences often unconsciously prefer. This reality can be deeply frustrating and, at times, emotionally draining because it challenges not only professional identity but personal confidence. Ice Cube has always been a trailblazer, someone whose presence commands attention. Yet aging in a youth-driven world means constantly proving oneself all over again. It also forces him to confront societal attitudes toward aging, where experience and wisdom are often undervalued in favor of novelty and flashiness. At the same time, it highlights the resilience and adaptability he has cultivated over decades. He is learning to navigate a world that has shifted around him while staying true to his voice, values, and vision. The tragedy in this process is subtle yet profound. The very industry that once celebrated his power and influence can feel indifferent or even dismissive as time passes. For Ice Cube, this reality is not about giving up, but about understanding that sustaining relevance requires navigating biases and cultural expectations that often undervalue the achievements of those who have shaped the world of music and film. The emotional weight of this truth is immense, yet it also underscores the strength, perseverance, and enduring impact of a man who continues to define success on his own terms, even in a world that seems increasingly focused on youth over legacy. 6. The battle to preserve cultural authenticity in a changing world. One of the most profound challenges Ice Cube faces at 56 is the ongoing struggle to preserve cultural authenticity in a world that is constantly changing, evolving, and often commercializing the very culture he helped define. From the early days of NWA to his solo career and cinematic endeavors, Cube built his reputation on truth, honesty, and unfiltered storytelling that reflected the realities of his community and experiences. He never aimed to entertain superficially. His art was always rooted in social awareness, street knowledge, and political commentary. However, as the music and film industries evolve, cultural trends shift rapidly, and younger audiences bring new expectations. Cube has to carefully navigate a landscape that sometimes pressures artists to compromise or dilute their message for mass appeal. The commercialization of hip-hop and urban culture, while creating opportunities, also risks erasing the depth, history, and meaning behind the art, and Cube finds himself constantly balancing staying relevant with remaining faithful to the principles that defined his career. This battle is not only professional, but deeply personal, because cultural authenticity is tied to identity, heritage, and legacy. Every lyric, every role, and every public statement becomes a choice between adaptation and staying true to one's roots. At 56, he is more aware than ever of how easily history can be rewritten or simplified, and how much responsibility falls on his shoulders to preserve the integrity of the stories he tells and the communities he represents. The tragedy in this ongoing struggle is subtle but powerful. The world around him changes rapidly, and while many celebrate progress, that progress sometimes comes at the cost of the cultural truth he cherishes. Maintaining authenticity requires courage, foresight, and constant vigilance. And even someone as experienced and respected as Ice Cube must confront the risk of misrepresentation, commodification, or misunderstanding. Yet, this battle also underscores his resilience and dedication. Despite trends, critics, and the pressures of a changing industry, he continues to prioritize honesty and integrity over convenience. Preserving cultural authenticity is not easy, and it is a lifelong struggle. But for Ice Cube, it remains central to who he is and what he stands for, making his journey at 56 both challenging and profoundly inspiring. If you found Ice Cube's story as powerful and heartbreaking as we explore today, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps this video reach more people who need to hear his journey. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive into the lives of the world's most iconic figures. Drop a comment below and tell us which part of Ice Cube's story shocked or inspired you the most, because your thoughts make this community stronger and keep the conversation alive. And most importantly, watch until the very end of the video, because the final revelation about Ice Cube's struggles at 56 will leave you genuinely stunned. It's a truth you won't want to miss.